Taylor hears a knock on the door. He's like, "Fuck, Kirkland's here." Takes the CD, just chucks it out the window.
100%.
He's not playing my fucking save.
You should have heard him before you got here. He was talking about how he's made a profit on Mandalorian toys because on eBay they cost $60, but he got them for $30. So he says, "Yeah, I made a profit right there."
That's
And
not a profit.
No, I tried to explain many times.
it's a
He's like, "But if I
profit.
sold, I can make a profit." And we go, "Well, are you selling it?" "Oh no, I'm not selling it." So he doesn't understand.
I didn't say I'm not selling.
The
I
word
said
you're
I
looking
could
for
sell
is
it.
discount. You got them at a discounted price.
You're gonna go broke.
Well, no,
one
I got.
day.
You're
gonna go
I got them at a
broke.
discounted price because I paid like the retail price, but on the like eBay market they're worth like
eBay.
triple.
And
So
you made a
got-
profit.
So you got them at a discounted price, you would say.
Well, the standard
Would you
store
say
retail
that?
price. No,
He'd say he made a profit.
because it's not.
off it.
It's
That's
not
what he
discounted price. They're actual retail price. But if I sell them,
So they're actually
privately-
$30.
They are actually 30.
Oh,
and if
okay.
I sell
thought
them
they were
pri-
actually 60.
No. If I
Yeah.
sell them privately, as everyone else is doing now, because you can't get the figures, it's hard to find them in a store now.
Yeah.
They're
Even
like
though
60
last
to
night when we
70
just went to
bucks.
EB Games to get Mandalorian, that girl was just sitting.
Cara
right
Dune was there, and I can't fucking believe it.
Who?
Oh, the piece de la resistance.
She's not in the Mandalorian
fuck
yet.
you
She's
talking
coming up.
She's coming.
She's a female character coming up, but she's not in this episode.
Which is surprising.
You
I
saying
think
the actress was there? I'm so confused.
No, this
no,
is a
no, the
toy.
action figure.
Okay.
You were predicting she would be in this episode, weren't you?
I was, but we'll talk about that right now. Because hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mandalorian review.
Yes.
I'm the bounty hunter chest, and I'm just gonna rock that. I think for this one.
That's good. I'm the. Is he called the moving fortress? Is that what he calls the Jawa
I think
ship?
that's what he called it.
Something
they're
fortress.
just sand
Something
crawlers,
fortress.
so
Yeah.
I like moving fortress. I'm the moving fortress,
you go.
Dylan Musk.
I am the junkyard, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the Jawa Taylor Field.
Wow, full on spoilers, right? With all these nicknames. If you have
Spoilers? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No,
We're doing a spoiler-free section on episode 2 of The Mandalorian, a 30-minute episode that people already have Disney Plus for.
27
We're not doing
minutes.
a spoiler-free section.
27
Are you
I
minutes,
think
nuts?
we
actually.
could give our first 2 minutes of what
No,
we thought
I
about
completely
it.
disagree.
Because if there's somebody,
These are the kind of things that most podcasts would probably discuss before live. but
Yeah.
I feel no reason to do a spoiler-free section on this.
well, I feel fine because I didn't spoil anything. I still go by when I got someone messaged me and said I spoiled the death of Luke Skywalker. It was a year after Last Jedi, but I was still like, oh, I took that to heart. So it sucks. So yeah, I'm not saying anything. But we are here to review episode 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Go back if you haven't checked this one. I'll go back to episode 1. What me and Taylor did Luigi's Mansion. We did a newscast. Me and Dylan are doing Death Stranding later
Hell
on.
yeah, movie of the week, Inception. There you
And
go.
yeah, and Game of the Week, Death Stranding. There's a review coming
Hell
out, so there
yeah.
you go. And then
Game of
next
the
week,
year.
me and Taylor will be reviewing Jedi Fallen Order, and then we'll be back for every single week of The Mandalorian. So let's get into this. Are we doing any opening thoughts or any non-spoilers? Or
I don't think it really makes sense.
Okay, so
Like,
there
I
you
don't
go.
know if I don't know who would be. I don't know who
Watching
would
an episode
go
2.
online to search. Like in the time it would take them to go online and find a spoiler-free episode of this, they
Well,
could have already watched the episode.
They could be in Europe. It could be some Europeans.
Yeah,
that
that's the
tune
other
in, want to
thing.
hear our
Yeah, yeah.
non-spoiler thoughts.
All the
so.
people in England don't
Alright,
have.
well, I
Disney
have
Plus.
nothing to say non-spoilers on this episode,
'Kay.
so I will. I don't know.
Did you like the episode? Yes or no?
I liked it,
Mhm.
but I can't say anything that's like non-spoiler. I guess.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. I liked it.
Another non-spoiler. What do you like more, this or the first one?
Probably the first one.
Okay. Kirkland,
Definitely the first one.
Taylor.
First one.
Okay, I'm the first one too. Do you guys have any non-spoiler thoughts?
I thought it was a little short,
Mhm.
and overall, not a lot happened.
Short and stout.
To me, yeah, it definitely was short because I hadn't finished it yet, and Travis messages me. He's like, 27 minutes, not including the credits, and I just like bit my tongue. I was so
26.
upset. 26 minutes.
26
Even
minutes.
worse. So I was super upset because I knew I was nearing the end of the episode. But that being said, like I definitely feel like not that it's bad because I really enjoyed the first episode a lot, and I think this one was definitely good. I really got a lot of amusement out of it, and I feel like the story and the way it progressed felt like how we talked about the first episode being like, there's all these possibilities of like side quests and things, kind of has that atmosphere and aesthetic to it. I felt like this was one of those side quests kind of taking place. And again, it just embodied that feeling of being in a game and all of a sudden something happens and you gotta, divert your attention and go deal with it. Like in Luigi's Mansion, with the fucking those things stealing your
Spoilers. Big time
Yeah.
spoilers.
Stealing
Oh,
your
wow,
things.
wow.
You're starting the
Travis
They
same
knows
thing
what
now.
I'm
fucking
talking
spoiled The
about.
Mandalorian too. They spoiled Luigi's Mansion for me. I think that I get what you're saying. There is a
I didn't
ghost.
know Luke died.
There's a ghost. Yeah, Taylor made a profit. There is a ghost that steals things from you in Luigi's
Yeah,
Mansion
yeah.
and always
That's classic Ghost.
diverts you away from the main
Activity.
story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
That's 2 weeks in a fucking row. You just dead
I
stop
fucking
talking.
get him every time.
It's a classic Taylor play.
Yeah, I think when the episode started, I realized how much already I love this show. I talked about this last week, but just the feel, just to have this like cool ass Western bounty hunter Star Wars show is awesome. The first 15 minutes are so good. The action set piece, it's just like intensity, but there's comedy, and that's what I like. Is George Lucas? I think Favreau said this interview. He said to him before they started making this, he said, remember, Star Wars is still supposed to be for family and kids. And that's what is one good thing about this. And maybe you wouldn't like that, but I think there's a lot of humor in this episode that actually worked for me. I think there's certain things that could have came off maybe a little cheesy or a little too kiddie, but they find this right balance of, yeah, it's a little more adulty, but I feel like I could still watch this with Gwen and she could have a good time with it because there's still like childlike aspect. And from the trailers we got, I didn't think we were going to get that. I thought it was just going to be a badass like cowboy Mandalorian show. So I like that. My whole thing is I think it was a little short, and I don't want to say this was a filler episode because I loved so much of it, but I think it was close to it. I think there's very minuscule things we get progressed, and I do think it's tough because I want to wait to see till next week because I am wondering, with this being the first week of Disney Plus, if this was still just one episode and the last week's cliffhanger was so good they split up, like that's a great way, because if you look at it, it's like if you put these two episodes together, that's like almost 50 minutes. So we haven't even got an hour of it. And that's just, I'm wondering when next episode, because if next episode's also this short, it can still be good and I'll still enjoy it, but I'll feel, I don't know, not disappointed, but at least I'll be more prepared because I did not think that when we were getting this series. I thought we'd be getting 40-minute episodes every week, where this was 26 minutes. That's literally like a Clone Wars episode, and it feels like some of the mid-tier Clone Wars episodes of it's just a guy on an adventure, and it's a good one of that, so I'm happy about that. But I definitely prefer last week where you had that adventure, but then you had little reveals, and then you had some politics, and you had some introduction to the villains. This was just a fun adventure. I just wish maybe we got to see some other stuff. I don't think we progressed. There were some fun like little moments in here that are like, wow, that happened. But I'm just hoping next week is kind of back to episode 1, because when episode 1 ended, I was like, oh, I can't wait for next week. Where this, I'm gonna stay up till midnight to watch it. But if next week is like this one, I could be like, I can wait to see it. Where if episode 1 I was like, I gotta see what's next. This one was like, okay, this was really good. I'm enjoying the show, but it didn't press me like I gotta see what's next. It's like, all right, there we go. So
I do want to say the panic definitely set in because like it was like midnight last night. There was no episode, and then it pops up on mobile first, and I'm thinking, well, come on now. It's been like 10, 15 minutes. Finally, it comes on TV.
You waited to TV? Why didn't you just stream it from your phone to your TV?
I can't stream to my Amazon TV from my Apple device.
You have an Amazon TV?
Mm-hmm.
Your TV's just branded Amazon?
It's a Toshiba Amazon Fire TV.
Okay,
Ooh.
there you go.
That was on fire. Hot damn.
Oh yeah.
It's our sponsor of this show.
Yeah, we couldn't
Of
fit,
this
it,
episode?
couldn't fit it on the table. We'll put it there and block Taylor's face. So I liked the episode a lot. A little step down from next week, but I'm still enjoying it. Anything else, non-spoilers?
No, sir.
3, 2, 1.
Geek versus Symbol.
Oh!
I hope you pointed at me.
What?
He was like, I think he was doing like a sideways point. That way anyone, it eventually would
I
have
saw
hit
it in my
everyone.
periffs,
Yeah,
so I was
it's
like, I'll
fine.
just take it.
Dylan's next week because you two have gone. So Dylan, you're
That's
next week.
fine.
You're episode 3.
That's fine.
It's gonna be the best episode yet. So yeah, spoilers galore here. So you guys can talk about the Jawas all you want now. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly where I want to start. Okay, the
Mhm.
fact that this part of the episode totally caught me off guard because like you see him and his ship's just getting stripped apart. I'm thinking, oh, I really feel for this guy, and they're just the Jawas are making bank, and he perches out and he's looking. I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna probably run down there and just hit a few or smack a few and just kind of like figure out what's going on, right? But no, he starts fucking like popping off
Disintegrating
and
the
they just disintegrating
Jawas.
the Jawas, and they're freaking out. And not just 1, 2, 3, they all start popping, and it was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. And then he's chasing after him, and Avocado's just floating behind, which is absolutely great.
Mhm.
And then even after when he's finally talking to them and they're pissing him off, and he's trying to talk in Jawa and they're insulting him, and he just rips a flamethrower on
Yeah.
his head.
yeah.
It's
Savage.
so good.
Yeah, I liked all the humor with the Jawas. I thought it was great.
Yeah, they're kind of weird. Like, I know we've seen them before. Where have we seen them? What episode was
A
it?
New Hope 4. So the very
Is that
first
the only
Star
time
Wars.
we've seen them?
Have
No,
we
they've
s-
been trickled throughout all the other films.
Have they?
Like
That's when-
episode,
Were they in the
like Phantom
prequels?
Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when they had the plot of like they dealt with Luke and they traded
Yeah.
him R2 and
Yeah.
stuff like
So
that.
I remember their look, but I couldn't remember what they talk like, and it just made me laugh because, I mean, their voices are just really weird. Like they sound like they're speaking in like sim language, like wabba boo flabba dee dabo dabo, and then they kind of remind me of like Professor Egat as well, the suk suka, because they do
Yeah.
that same sort of thing. And so I don't know, I was loving it up. I like them. I think they're pretty funny little
Yeah.
little Oompa Loompa characters.
I always love the look of the Jawas, just from like the very first episode, episode 4, and there's just so much mystery to them, and like seeing them just, I don't know, they're pretty similar looking to what they were. I'd say like a dash of modernness to them. Like I think their eyes just look a little more. It might just be like the quality of.
yeah, it might just be HD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just overall it was great.
I think they
seeing
still
them
try
in
to give them
again.
that authentic look. Though.
Yeah, no,
Like,
for
they
sure.
still
Star
look
Wars is
kind of
pretty
like
good at that.
puppet, you know.
Star Wars is
puppet-ish.
pretty good at that.
Right.
Like on last episode we were talking about, or I brought it up, that I just love seeing like the puppets, and it's not just CGI characters like what we got in the
Mhm.
prequels and stuff. So
Yeah.
I loved all that stuff. And then one thing I mentioned to Taylor off cast was this, what's it called, the sand cruiser, sand crawler. It just seems so much faster in this compared to like episode 4. I swear in episode 4 it's just like
Well,
it's just
'cause
like
it's a clay
it's just
model they're
listing
moving.
it's just
Yeah.
listing along. This one is just fucking they floored it, and that was a fun little, like, I don't know, chase scene, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, those things are fun.
Yeah.
I have to say this story, like even though the Jawas did get like their ass handed to them at times, they definitely, I think, made off, into the sunset looking like badasses, and it justified like how
They won
good
the
they
war.
were.
Oh yeah.
Well, they won the war because like when he got
They
to the
took 'em out.
top,
Yeah.
finally there was like 10 of them that just they all shot him, and I
Yeah.
thought he's just gonna walk it off.
Strength
but no,
in numbers
he
for
fell.
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
them die, they don't care.
Yeah.
They didn't have a funeral for those Jawas.
No.
No, they
fucking
didn't.
sold their corpses.
Oh,
yeah.
Sold their organs.
They,
Absolutely.
they made a deal with this guy for an egg, even though like he
Just
killed.
like some drug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about the video game aspect, that again, this is where I do feel like Favreau, and this is probably a good thing about it, and I hope it stays a good thing. It does just feel like he is, and he's talked about this before. He played with action figures as a kid. This just feels like in a video game when something's going on, and you're just like you've been in the game, and now you're in Game Plus more like in GTA, I'm gonna start shooting some civilians, and that's what this felt like. Like he could have approached it so differently, but then he's just destroying them, and that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
to me is like he's an interesting character. Like that's the one thing I'd say from this episode. We got a lot of kind of flavor of what's going on in him because we see that he is caring for the avocado, and we got that last week. That was the one thing I talked to somebody like, oh, but we found out like he cares about this avocado. It's like I think we kind of got that progression last week. To me, it was insinuated, so that wasn't a big development. It kind of did, but still, you got furthering of that. But then you also just have him in cold blood killing these Jawas. But then also later on, he would have died if it wasn't for the avocado. So it's just, again, we kind of talked about last week that he's not the most skilled bounty hunter, which is a little surprising me. I don't know if it's contradictory because the guy Carl Weather who gave him the mission, and he said to the other guy who was the Imperial, he says like, "Oh, you're one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy." I don't think we've seen that. I think he's very good, but he's like almost died a few times.
No, but think about it from the perspective of that guy. When he comes back with the avocado, let's
Yeah.
say he does, then they don't know that
That's
anything
true.
went wrong. They don't know that
Yeah.
his ship
Yeah.
got fucked up or that he almost died of that dinosaur thing. Like, he got the job done, and
Yeah.
he did it in a very unclean way, and like his rating is like a C+ or something.
But to them, it's an A because it got the pass.
yeah, he's still
Yeah.
like he accomplished the goal. So.
Yeah, he got delivery time.
he
right?
got the delivery time.
I also
Yeah.
feel like maybe he would have, like, I don't know, been more successful if his gun didn't jam. I feel like it kind of got tossed in the mud,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was the reason why he wasn't able to get his shot off there. But
Yeah, I think that's why I liked this episode, actually, because it is very simple. It's almost like slice life. It's just like the day-to-day of a
Mhm.
Mandalorian
Yeah.
where, yeah, like something goes wrong, and it's like, that's just a hiccup, right? Or things like when he's just like, using that thing to recover his arm, or after that, he's like, I don't know what he was fixing. Maybe it was the device that controls the crib. I think that's what he was. Yeah, he was just like doing some tinkering, and then things like that where like the gun just jammed. Just little things like that, little details that aren't really necessary at all, but I thought it was fun. However, I do feel like it's not really necessary. Like, you could maybe you guys have a counterexample or something, but I don't think this episode needs to happen at all. Like, whatever happens in the next episode, you could completely skip the entirety of this episode. I don't think any of it needs to stay. You could say that without it, maybe you'd have a bad send-off to the what's the his friend's name again? The guy who like teaches them on the
What is it?
boards and whatnot.
Ewell or you?
I'm not sure. I can't remember his name.
It's
Just
like
the
you.
Ugnaught.
Yeah.
Nick
The
Nolte.
Ugnaught?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick-
So
I have
obviously you
spoken.
could look at this episode and see this as like a send off to him. I'm guessing we won't see him again. So without this, it might seem like he just pieced off without saying bye to him. But I
Yeah.
think that's probably fine as well. Like I don't really
Yeah.
think that really changes the overarching story. So I like seeing the basic, the kind of just the day to day stuff. I
Yeah.
think that's interesting. But at the same time, I do feel like there's really no progression in this episode, and that's I don't know, maybe something to look at. For me, I think it's fine, but I think a lot of people could be disappointed in that.
Yeah.
I feel like I would agree like that it's unnecessary if it was like more of a movie setting. I don't know. I just feel like I've seen so many shows where definitely I agree with what Travis said. Like this feels very borderline filler, and like I've watched, especially like if you get into the anime
Definitely.
category, that's like
Look
40.
at like the essential Naruto episode.
Oh yeah, that's like 40 episodes of filler. So like I'm kind of used to it now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Going into this, especially with how the first episode ended, I just wasn't expecting like a lighter, just
Mhm.
not so much like story progressing
Yeah.
episode. But I don't know. Like
That's
in
a
the
good
moment,
point. I think when you look at it as okay, we're already 2 out of 8 episodes down.
yeah,
Yeah. We have
That
6
is-
left.
that is yeah. When you put it in
That's
that
where it could be a
perspective,
problem. I mean, yes, we'll likely get more. Well, I don't know if it's likely, but we might get more seasons down the line. So
They're filming season 2 right
okay,
now.
yeah, so that'll fill out more in the future. But look at like an anime. It's like one
Yeah.
season's like 26 episodes or something like that. It's like okay if you have some filler episodes.
yeah. When you put it in that perspective, it's
Well, yeah, and it's funny. I feel like such a like an idiot because for so many years we've reviewed all those Netflix Marvel ones. And be like, oh, they gotta shorten them up, and now I'm getting these like 8 episode, 27 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's long enough. Like that's why I almost wish you had his adventure going on, but I almost wish we got scenes with that Imperial and the Doctor or something else about
Mhm.
other things going on. But not the problem is, but what I think they're doing with the show is it seems like we're just always going to be from the Mando's perspective. It seems like
Right.
we're never leaving that, which I appreciate. It's very Logan-esque, but even Logan had little scenes with the villain just to inform. And I even thought that you could have 26 minutes of his little venture, but even 10 more minutes of him talking with this doctor, obviously, but maybe they don't want to reveal that, but it's kind of like I'm in Dylan's camp of we got 6 left. And that's why for me, next week is the telling point, because if we get a third episode and that's also like in the 30-minute mark, then I get a little worried. I'm still going to enjoy it. I'm not going to, oh, they'll be bad, but I'm hoping that these 2 episodes are shorter just because of the premiere week, and maybe they decide we could split these up
Yeah.
and make people feel like we're getting more content, and next week will be 40 to 50 minutes. If it's not, then I don't know. I just worry then that I think this will be a very basic season. It might just literally be him getting this thing to the bad guys, and then the last episode could be him like, I'm not going to give you to him, and the episode ends with like where I thought the season, my worry is the season finale of this season could be something I thought we were going to get like 2 or 3 episodes in. It's going to be a little drawn out, but not drawn out. It's in this like weird place.
That's an interesting thing for Star Wars, right? We're not used to a live action show. This is like the first of its kind, and maybe it's just an expectation thing, right? Like maybe we need to learn to not expect that every episode's going to have some big story point. Well, obviously we should expect that from here on out. Not everything's going to be a massive story thing because if you're only doing like a trilogy once every like decade or something, you got to make it count every like if you did a half an hour of this, maybe that'd feel like a waste. And I even feel like sometimes the movies do have a sequence like that where it's really not purposeful. It's just there for a set piece or something. And I think we're gonna have the Obi-Wan show, and I think that'll be quite different. I imagine every episode will have some sort of plot progression. I don't know if you'll get a whole lot of just like sitting around doing Obi-Wan stuff, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you will. But I think for this show, just like this new character and just a simple story, I think by the end of it, if it is more of this, I think I could be fine with it. If there, I mean, there has to be some progression. If it's just this episode again and again,
it's
and
just him.
I'm gonna be checked out. But if it's just a bunch of like 20-30 minute episodes that are like this, I don't know. It's definitely not what I would have expected beforehand. Not what I would have predicted. But I think I could be okay with it.
I think where I will be really okay with it if all the episodes are like that this season, I think when I watch all of it together would feel really good because then it won't feel like just a longer movie like Lord of the Rings extended style. So that's why I think this episode because when the season does end, I do want to watch back. When I do that, I feel like I might like this episode a bit more when it's in the story. But it's just
That's
because
interesting.
we don't know. It's the unknown, right? We don't know what's happening.
I feel like if I do that before our like series finale, whatever it is, I might just skip this episode, honestly. I mean, I have to see episode 3, 4 if anything in here is actually purposeful, and I didn't really catch it at the time. But I think if I'm looking to, rewatch this, I'd say you could skip it as of right now.
Yeah, and it's just a thing because we are in different territory. It makes me wonder now with the Marvel shows, like, is this the same format? Is that Falcon Winter Soldier show?
Yeah,
Are
I
they
guess
gonna have
we can't
26
really
minute
bank
episodes?
too much on like what Marvel Netflix did because that's a different.
Yeah,
entity.
exactly, right. And that's
Yeah.
where, and I do like this. I like, and that's why I sound bad, but I like the idea of you don't got to do 13 episodes and they all got to be 40 minutes. I like the idea of playing with them. I just hope that it's, and maybe that's another worry, is that how they can spend the budget is these episodes are shorter. That's why I always said, hour-long episodes, they're spending a lot, but they're still spending a lot.
That's
I think
a good
this
point.
episode looked better than the first episode effects wise, but if they are shorter episodes, it is less taxing for money wise, right? So
Mhm.
it is fun to see like from the
Mhm.
business
Yeah, I
perspective,
mean,
like what's gonna
I
happen.
guess if you do look at it, this is just like one standalone episode. It probably is still pretty expensive to make just
Yeah.
this one episode between. I mean, really good soundtrack once again, and then just the different set pieces. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's ways to cheat it, but they do make it pretty authentic, and
Yeah.
that costs money.
And my last point before I throw it to you, because I haven't asked about the time, is just that so far every Disney Plus show has all been around half an hour, and they've all been like the Jeff Goldblum one and this and that. But I imagine Monsters Inc. when that comes out, that's gonna be in that like 20-minute. I don't think those are gonna be hour-long episodes, and we
Yeah.
don't get Falcon Winter Soldier till next fall. So right now it does
Yeah.
seem that the method might be smaller ones. So that's why next week to me is really telling the runtime on that, and to see is that kind of the not a strict policy, but maybe they say,
Right.
hey, kind of keep it around
Yeah.
this time. So
I
Of
am
course, this could be just testing the waters as well.
exactly, right?
I am interested in seeing what the length, like what the average length of the episodes are for, especially once we get to like near the end. If they're all around half an hour,
Yeah.
or if it's just like the season opener and the finale that are like 30. What was the last one? 40 minutes.
The last one was 36 minutes with
Okay.
no credits. I always
Yeah.
say the no credits, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Just watching this episode
39,
as well,
sorry.
it just made me like realize why I hate watching shows like week by week. I
Yeah.
always wait. I'm notorious for just waiting till the show's over. I sometimes get screwed and get spoilers. So like Game of Thrones, that happened to me. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
hate getting cliffhangers and then having to wait a week.
That's
Mm.
fair.
So watching this one, it reminded me of, sometimes there are weeks that are a little like, oh, nothing really happened this episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
I think it's,
Which I didn't think was gonna happen with the
Yeah.
episode, so I
Yeah.
really didn't.
that's
I
a
didn't
good
have that
point.
thought
I
either.
think it's like for me, I'm still in that phase where it's like, oh, Disney Plus is fun and shiny
Yeah.
and new.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
signing on. Oh, my computer glitched out. And cool. I'll just go on my PS4 and watch on there. Check it out. I got my picture with the Randall. Randall's my profile
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
officially.
that's Randall.
It's me, and then Briggs's account is like Elsa. So
Oh, of
definitely
course, of
don't
course.
like. They kind of match in their own way, but they don't fit like conceptually.
Yeah. We'll see with these
Anyway.
runtimes. I just might be depressed one day if I turn on Moon Knight and it's a 26-minute episode. I go, oh, Moon Knight's only in 26 minutes, but Terry, how do you feel about
Yeah.
this?
I mean, personally, like I said earlier, I was very disappointed in how short this episode was, and I do hope that it is a combination episode that they just kind of split in half, like you had said, between the first and second episodes. But that being said, I definitely am not. I'm not upset that it was maybe more like a filler episode from the main story. I feel like maybe it's just because of all the Clone Wars I've watched that I'm just kind of used to it with Star Wars.
Check out our Clone Wars
Um,
retrospective. There's so many filler episodes exactly like
I
this.
think that's probably again,
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, and
Shout out to
legit.
Dave Filoni.
It is probably him just playing with the ideas and like them just experimenting with, we don't have to just get right into the main story, but slowly build towards it. I think to me that's something that Star Wars has kind of gone off and started just doing on their own. And I'm even noticing that with Star Wars Rebels now as I'm watching through that. But with Marvel, if you look at what they're doing, I feel like they probably wouldn't adapt to this kind of take where they have filler episodes. I think they'd be more direct, because even with the Netflix Marvel shows, I felt like those were more I didn't feel like there were filler episodes with those. I felt like they were all, different things are happening, but it all
for
connected
sure had some
to
filler
a story.
episodes.
Yeah, I don't. I think more with those shows, when you looked at like the entire season as a whole, which I mean made more sense because you could binge all of it, was they had like usually one or two characters that really, with a little bit of tweaking, you could have just taken them out of the show, and
yeah.
that would have just saved you some time. So and they were purposeful as the way the show was written, but it's like, really, did I need them? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, like I would have taken 2 or 3 episodes less, cut the fat, and just like stick to the core content.
Or maybe that's what this is. This is a Daredevil episode where you cut the things you don't need, and the Daredevil content's 26, 27 minutes,
Yeah.
right? And maybe that's
Yeah,
what they're going
exactly.
for. So, and that's
Maybe we don't know what we're asking for because we want that
Well,
from the
yeah.
Marvel Netflix shows, and then maybe we're getting it here, and it's not. I don't know. It's different, but
And maybe it's just weird to see because I'm also someone that reads comics and those are always 22 pages, and I'm always someone that usually, unless I really like it, I wait till a bunch to read them back to back. But maybe I just now have to be used to like, okay, this is just a 26-minute episode, and I'm not gonna be disappointed. Like now with week 3, I'm not gonna be like, what? I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna accept this for what it is. And again, I don't think any of us said like it's a bad episode or there's bad things, but it's just it's a different world, you know.
Totally.
It's a Disney Plus world.
I'm interested in just comparing like when more Disney Plus like original shows come out and see if they are sticking to that particular format or if it's different, but depending on the show,
Who the creator is,
because I like we've already mentioned Star Wars. At the end of the day, it is a family show, so like they are going to be a little more light-hearted, not necessarily so much riding on it. But I don't know. Maybe when we get it's weird when you compare it to like a Netflix Marvel show, because I feel like those in their own nature are just a little bit darker and grittier.
Oh,
and
100%.
For
Those
a
were
more
rated
mature.
R,
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know. You don't really get like a filler. I don't know. I haven't seen them all. Is there like filler episodes in there?
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say there is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But
In
Travis
Marvel
said yeah.
Netflix, you don't think so? And like Luke Cage and Jones had some where it's just like these characters are just.
I think there's always some progression going on.
Yeah.
I think some of it's shit, but like there's always something going on.
Maybe I would.
I don't know. I haven't rewatched any of those shows, so
Yeah.
it's hard to like. When's the last time I watched Daredevil season 1? It's been years at this point. So.
I would say there is. I would say because you got 13, I'd say there's usually 1 or 2 that you could cut or like combine the episodes but yeah, it's a tough.
Yeah, like there's always definitely filler segments in the episodes.
Yeah,
but whether or not there's a full filler episode
true.
in its entirety, because those are always 40 to 50 minutes. Like at the lowest was probably 40, right?
Yeah, maybe there's filler storylines like Foggy dealing with the homeless problem or something.
Definitely.
You know? Yeah,
Well,
that's a better way to put
It'll
it.
be
yeah.
interesting to see like once the season's over though, because like we were already mentioning, this episode is not entirely filler. Like there are some aspects that kind of
we get the full on confirmation. The only thing I'd say that is a big thing is the Yoda is Avocado using the Force.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is one thing that. Yes, it is useful here, but I do feel like next episode we're just gonna get another sequence where he's using the Force, maybe poorly.
That's true.
So I mean, yeah, maybe it's too soon to say that, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think in the grand scheme of things, like whatever happened in here really won't matter.
Yeah, no,
then,
for sure. And like from the start of this episode to the end of it, he was basically in the exact same spot, right? Like in the beginning of the episode, he had his ship, and then at the end of the episode, he had his ship.
Exactly, right?
So
yeah,
it was
you
just like a
just
big.
said, "Oh, he got in his ship
Yeah.
and he's flying off to his
Yeah.
new destination."
So like when Dylan was saying
Never
like
got
you
broken.
probably could skip this episode, you probably could honestly, because like you already mentioned, the next episode he's probably going to use the Force. It's going to be probably similar to what happened in this
every
one.
episode's dropping Fridays from here on out, right?
Yeah, from here on out Friday, except for the week of Skywalker.
Yeah.
They'll
So I
push
wonder
that.
if this has something to do with that as well, where they knew like for some time that there was going to be 2 episodes in the first week.
Yeah.
And they wanted one like explosive hook episode, and then they needed something for that week as well. I don't know.
That is an interesting
I
idea.
agree 100% because even if like I said, my theory of if this was one episode, that Avocado ending had the entire internet talking, everyone talking about like clone, Force, blah blah blah. Like, so I think this was it was definitely a strategy to somehow, I don't know what their strategy is, but to have that be the first thing you watch on Disney Plus, this baby Yoda that might have the Force because it was hidden in marketing. And I think it was smart because it got people talking.
You know, one thing I will say as well, and I know Disney Plus is new this week and all, but when I logged on to Disney Plus, it wasn't like incredibly obvious to me that there was a new episode of Mandalorian that came out. Like whenever you go on Netflix, it says like new episodes, and obviously that's like just a full season.
Yeah, you just got to.
So I don't know how they're like. Obviously, if they're doing it every week, it might get like aggressive or something. But I felt like it wasn't really obvious.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's something they're gonna change.
I think they will. I think even then I've had.
Like it doesn't even say like every Friday
No.
tune in or
Yeah,
something.
the other thing I'd have is sometimes my continue watching thing is there, and then sometimes it disappears. So I think
I've heard that it sometimes just deletes that.
So
out there.
I bet eventually once they get on, and even last night, like Taylor was saying, me and Taylor were up at midnight. They technically released it at 12:05, but it wasn't until another 15 minutes later. So I think they're just trying to nail her down like their schematics and get those episodes out, and then once they're like they know it's gonna drop at this time with no problems.
On, like, bug fixing at this point, right?
Yeah, I think they just don't want to say every Friday at this time because they know right now maybe they can't hit it. So classic Disney, they're just gonna be like, it's gonna be there, you know. But what do you guys actually think about? Like, obviously we speculated last week, but what do you think about the confirmation of Force Yoda? So we were like half right, half wrong because it was a chair that had the jet power, like with his wrist, so he wasn't using the Force, but he was Force sensitive.
Yeah.
And clearly
Didn't
pretty
we all
strong.
say that he was?
I
gonna have the
figured.
Force?
I figured he was gonna be the
I
Force.
think we all said that. Yeah.
Taylor says he
I don't
does,
know where
but
you think that I wouldn't. What? I'm a Star Wars fan.
When I asked him the
Why
first
would
time,
you think a Star Wars fan would think that a member of Yoda's species would not have the Force?
If you're a real Star Wars fan, tell me what Yoda's species is.
I'm a real Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
fuck, fine.
No, see, there you
Then
go.
no one's a Star Wars fan.
But what do we
They're
think?
the Yodels.
What do we think about this confirmation? Obviously, we're kind of in a similar place as last week. We don't know. The other thing I will throw out is people did some tracking about that guy, the doctor guy, and his patch
Dr.
is
Pershing.
it is the Camino patch from the cloning and Attack the Clones. So there could be some clone work at play, whether Yoda is a clone or they want to clone him. But those are kind of the two revelations that Yoda's Force and this guy is a part of the cloning program, like he's a doctor of it. So
That's something I want to just put out, like my quick theory on that. So,
hear
like,
it's not
now-
Boba Fett.
It's not Boba Fett. No, the fact that obviously Dr. Pershing, yes, he does have that Camino and symbol on him, which was whoever found that is like great, great job at noticing that because it was really just subtly on his
Bigger
shoulder.
fan than you are.
Bigger fan than I am, definitely.
Freeze in every
Or just
frame.
bigger eyes than I have at least.
Bigger
but,
eyes. for
Bigger
sure.
eyes. Big eyes. Big eyes.
But yeah, I have to say, like, my take on this is that obviously, like, the doctor, he wanted to reinforce that he wanted the asset alive, and obviously, you would want that alive for DNA. It's fresher. You can do, cloning. You can do tests on it. And that leads to cloning. I feel like they want this asset, for the possibility of cloning, and it also, that being said, I still reiterate the fact I don't think that this baby is a clone of Yoda or anything like that. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I don't have any evidence to support the fact, but just the fact remains to me that
Just your gut feeling.
he just a gut feeling that they want him alive so that they can do cloning or test the DNA of it. I also like the aspect too that this human represents Camino in this sense, which again just shows how the Empire has really messed around with alien species and put humans above, and they've like assimilated into these other like communities or establishments and cultures, and just put their people in positions of power amongst the society of others and other alien races, which I thought was a very cool thing. I don't know if that's how I just take it, or if they
That's
actually
cool.
did that.
No, I
that
think
is
you
cool.
are, because we've had two things of one that obviously had just the long neck aliens running thing, and it's like kind of people have compared First Order Empire very similar to Nazis, right? And they did the exact same thing, took people down, rose people up, and then even then, it sounds like we don't know, but the Empire did something maybe to the Mandalorian culture, their plant, whatever. So that's two signs of, they did things that we didn't even know about in the movies. Just in the movies, they say, oh, the Empire's ruining the galaxy. And Star Wars, very basic plot. It's just the big evil Empire. But now you actually, that's a good thing. In these shows, you can see little things of, oh, this is how the culture is affected. And this is how they took this whole entire company or cloning organization from this race. So, there is a lot of stuff. And I am on your bandwagon. Last week, I was back and forth as far as, do they want for the Force, want for the age? I'm 100% in the camp that they want for the age thing. I think that Baby Avocado is going to bust out Force powers when they don't know it. They're not going to know that, and he's going to be in danger, and that's when he's going to bust it out. So I'm on the bandwagon along with you two of, like, I think they want it just for his age because he can live to 900 years, and they want that for some reason. But then they're going to get a rude awakening when some Force pushes are going on.
Another thing to add
And then he
credibility
passes
to
out
that.
for a whole day.
For
That
a
was
whole
great.
day.
And at one point, Mandalorian just like shaking him,
Yeah.
and he won't wake up. It was good.
To add more credibility to what you said, I think if they wanted to mention or point out to the Mandalorian to be prepared for anything that is unusual, I think they would have warned him. But the only thing they gave him was the age, which is the only thing that I think that they're aware of and that they care about. So again, I think that's definitely it. They want him for the age.
Yeah.
So.
I still want some answers of where he came from, like even a simple like
Why
I
was
know
he
this.
just chilling in that building.
Yeah, I know this is a simple Star Wars thing, but like, who are his parents? Like, is there another because there's only Yoda and Yaddle, and like we would assume there's
They
other.
got busy.
Well, that's what people are saying, but
Ayo.
like you'd have to assume that another species created them, right? But
What if
so
there's
far
an-
they're rare, so we've only seen two, and that would mean there'd have to be another two to produce this one. So I think that will. I'm hoping that we'll get more of that,
Unless
or
there's
maybe
some weird alien race where they just like
Yeah.
grow on trees or something.
Well, and I was wondering that because if they're so far, all three of them that we've ever seen in Star Wars canon all have the Force. So maybe it is just this like the reverse Anakin, almost like you
They're
were
just
talking
made
about
from the
last
Force
week.
or
Yeah,
something?
like Anakin's made from dark side Force. This is
Yeah.
like a little like this little ball of light somewhere that just spawned into this baby avocado.
And it's possible. I'm going to reiterate that whatever happened, whether it was, Yoda sexy time or
Yoda sexy
Force
time.
Force sexy time. It definitely happened. Again around Force or Phantom Menace time.
Yeah, because he's 50 years.
Because he's like 50 years old. Yeah, so that's where I want to know. Like, okay, who is popping off then?
Well, I'd say the same thing as you don't believe it's a clone of Yoda. I don't think they will go, this is the son or daughter of Yoda. I don't think they will go that route. I just think it just seems a little generic.
It's a little cheesy.
Yeah, and it's just, and that is like
cliche.
that's where you can talk about Dave Filoni all you want, but he does like lean in that cheese sometimes. So maybe it will be the son of Yoda, but at that point, I just feel like that opens up a can of worms I don't want to open.
Yeah.
It's
I'd
a
agree.
big can
because
of
then
worms.
Yoda's a dedebeat dad who left his son or daughter.
We have a perfect image of Yoda. Even in Last Jedi, like that, I love that Yoda. Like he's such a great character, and I don't need to know that he had a kid.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like I know I mentioned it to you just because it was maybe a possibility. Who knows? But like to dismiss the fact of the avocado being born during Phantom Menace time. Let's say that he was a clone, the Kaminoans cloned him, and they wanted to get him back because they, whatever reason, lost him, and maybe they applied growth acceleration to him, like they did to what do you call
Boba?
it? Yeah, or to Boba or to the other clones. So basically, maybe that's why.
Oh yeah, Boba was the one that didn't have it. The clones had
the clones had it. Yeah, so maybe that's why they could explain why he's 50 years old, but he's still young, or they're just maybe he was born.
I just assume that at 50, that race is still like that because he goes to 950. So I just assume.
What I mean in the sense like maybe this baby avocado was born like within the year. And the growth acceleration just aged him to be like 50s. So that takes away the element of him being born during Phantom Menace time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
but that again is if he
That's
is a clone, it's
Put that down in the notebook. I just realized you don't have a sheet of notes today.
I was gonna mention.
I
that
didn't
as well.
have many notes to really write about.
But
this,
he could even be a clone of not like Yoda, but just a clone of something DNA from that species. Because people have been having all these theories that Rey might be a clone of like the Emperor, something like that. And there's cloning all the time in Star Wars, so that could be that it just has the species and it's a clone of that. So that's a good theory as well. I didn't think about that. Good job, Taylor.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more on that topic, or can I switch to
No, go for it.
Okay, this is a question that might be irrelevant, but so we saw some Jawas. I know this is kind of a topic from earlier. Have we seen them on different planets in Star Wars history, or just the one planet? And what planet is that again?
We've seen them on Tatooine, and no, I believe we have seen them on other planets.
Well, that's what I was
going
gonna
to get around.
I had the same question as Dylan because I don't think, and you know the animation world better than me.
Because it looks a lot like Tatooine. Like we haven't got the name yet.
It does. It's a desert planet. It's scummy, and to me, Jawa. So I forgot to ask that last night. I had the same idea of like, is that Tatooine?
I don't think it's Tatooine. It depends because when he's flying his ship over, you can see like dried up like lake areas or water body areas. But
a planet's pretty big, right?
It is, and again, the things that they're writing, the blurgs, I don't believe that they were native to Tatooine unless it's a new thing they're adding in. And again, even the landscape is different.
But here's a couple things, right? Because how would the Jawas get from planet to planet? Secondly, how would they like bring those land? They didn't actually make the sand crawlers. Those are actually from they're previously owned by these aliens that did mining operations on certain planets, and so they would just when they abandoned it, they left them. As well.
Yeah. They would just leave them behind, and the Jawas just sneak in.
That is a weird thing.
So you think the Jawas on multiple planets would show up in those things, and that would be like their thing?
Yeah, it'd be like their thing.
Possible?
Like I think it's possible. I mean, the Jawas
that's like very coincidental.
It's a very stretch. Yeah, that's stretching right there. I would rather
I'm
them
putting
just
my bucks on Tatooine right now.
I would rather them just break and just be it's Tatooine. Like, and
but then why would I mean? Because obviously,
what's holding you back from thinking it's Tatooine?
What's holding me back is just the fact that it's just the aesthetic and the layout does not feel the same as Tatooine. Tatooine is just mostly barren, dunes and stuff like that.
But planets are big. This is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Jabba's
is the
dead.
entire planet of Tatooine supposed to be desert?
Most of it's supposed to be desert. And I feel like this place...
Most of it.
Well, I say most of it, but there are certain parts that do have, like, rocky structures and stuff like that. But even again, if you look at, like, Phantom Menace and the pod race, there are little parts that do have, like, rocky structures, but the rest is all desert.
Racing,
and especially in New Hope, it's all desert again. And then you don't see people on this planet, you don't see moisture farmers or anything like that. You don't see people with
Yeah.
the huts built out of the sand. It's just people with actual huts, different alien species living on this planet, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and it has lots of water sources as well in these caves, like the creature we saw, you know, and that was a creature in
I don't know if
living in a
I'd say
different
lots,
environment.
but they do.
Well, there are
have-
puddles and stuff, which you don't see any rain
mud.
puddles or anything like mud on Tatooine.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a fair
You know, it
point,
doesn't rain. So I just feel like the climate and everything is very different. And again,
I
you
guess
know,
where I'm coming from is like, why invent a whole new planet if it's just going to be very similar?
I agree.
Right? It's like this is desert, but like 15% different than Tatooine. Why would you make a new planet at that point, right? Because you already have some of the same creatures. Yeah, you just made a bunch of great examples that I have no counter to. But I don't know. To me, it seems like so close that like, why is Dave Filoni, John Favreau, would you go, oh, let's make a new desert planet that's very similar to Tatooine with
When
also
Jakku.
Jawas and also
Not call
the
it
fucking-
Jakku.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. It's just kind of I guess their go-to. But I think that at the end of the day, like I don't have really much of a problem with it because it's just it's a cool like new planet environment that they're going to.
I just
and
wish they would name them then if that's the case. You know, I don't know.
you think we will at some point find out?
I think we'll get a name.
Yeah, I think at some point, but I think that's why it's not
At the very
Tatooine.
worst, I think someone will like ask Favreau and be like, "Oh yeah, it's."
Well,
so-and-so."
considering
It's like, I don't know.
considering
Terra
they
too.
put out the name of the Mandalorian, which we should probably shout out that too. I guess.
Well, they
right?
didn't put out. I feel like he
Well,
wasn't
Pedro
supposed. Pedro Pascal wasn't supposed
He's
to
spoiled?
say.
Don't
was
tell me.
supposed
Don't
to.
tell me.
Yeah, don't say it. It's fine
Okay.
because they don't want to maybe know either. But yeah, he said in an interview, and I just think he just knows nothing.
His
Does not
name's
say-
Pedro.
Is it Solo?
Yeah.
Is he a Solo?
No, it's nobody.
Oh.
Like it's nothing a big reveal.
Han.
It's just a name. But no, my whole thing is I just don't think it's Tatooine just because I think they would have name dropped it. So yeah, you can go in Clone Retros or Cantina. I complain about that a lot. How we don't go to new planet or old planets and they just remake planets and call them something else. I think that's a Disney thing. They don't want same thing. The Mandalorian's the Mandalorian. Even though I feel like they wanted to make a Boba Fett TV show, but they're like, no, let's
Well,
make our own character, which
I-
is fine. But like the planets thing is always a weird thing for me. It's like
I don't see them wanting to go to Tatooine in the Mandalorian because obviously we're getting out with Obi-Wan, and who knows if we get
True.
that with Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because they
I
did
didn't think
mention
about that.
Desert
That's a good
Planet in
point.
that sense. So
I just feel like the Jawa thing is, if it isn't Tatooine, it's very coincidental to me.
I agree.
If it's not their technology that they made.
Or at least
So-
have the Jawas, but have a different sort of like ship and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the same point, again, this is where I think the video game action figure perspective comes in because Favreau just like, I just want to do an action set piece on that thing. So I applaud him for that. So like, I still wouldn't take that away to make it on a different planet, but I wish
Yeah.
that they did find a way. You made a good point with Obi-Wan, but at the same point, it looks like he's left this planet. He's not going to be there that long. Obi-Wan, maybe the whole series will take there. So it's only 2 episodes. It's a classic planet. And even
Did
then,
he leave the planet? I thought he was just going back
No,
to
he
that
left.
city.
I thought he left in
Yeah,
the sky,
I
didn't
think
he?
he left.
Oh, I thought he was just like, I thought the city that he came from was like pretty far away. So
Maybe
he's
I'm
just going
wrong.
back to it.
What do
no,
you
he
think?
left the planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if he did leave the planet, we spent about a half an hour there only with the screen time. So I think it would have still been fine if it was Tatooine. It's a classic planet. Our parents would know, like, oh, that's that place where Luke's from, you know. So I think it was. I don't know. I'm on Dylan's bandwagon where it's. I'm not a fan of it being coincidental, but I like the set piece, so I can hand wave and be like, I got him on the Jawa ship, like getting shocked and throwing people off and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I liked it in the end of the day. But
I don't know. I think it's just like from my perspective, more casual. You have tons of great counter examples. Like I don't think about it that deeply because I just
you
don't
didn't
have
know
that
the
knowledge.
you didn't know the terrain of.
No, I didn't know that there was less water content. I just kind of assumed that it was Tatooine. I wonder how many other people on my level of Star Wars are
Tons.
kind of like casual fans who just watch the movies, don't rewatch them terribly often, would just kind of assume that.
I think many
Yeah.
people still think Jakku was
I also don't
Tatooine.
think it really matters at all.
Probably.
It's just kind of something I was wondering.
Well, and then the other thing is, we don't know if it's Jakku or Tatooine, but in Rise of Skywalker, there's another desert planet, and if that's not
Third
if that's
one.
not Tatooine or Jakku, it better be this
Fucking
fucking
love
desert
sand.
planet.
It's gonna be
it,
Terra.
it better be
Terra, yeah.
That would be
No,
fun.
Terra's lush, dude. Terra's,
Terra 2. You
Terra's
mentioned
just
it.
dripping.
Pink trees, but like no, that'd be cool if the planet they're on Rise of Skywalker and then this planet's the same. I'd be really down for that, and maybe that's why they're not revealing the name because that'd be fun if the movie comes out the next week of that episode Mandalorian, they drop the name of that planet, and it's the same planet. That'd be cool. So I'm fine with that, but if there's 4 desert planets now, we're getting a little
Yeah,
ridiculous.
might
you
as well
know?
round to the nearest 10 at this point. Just
yeah,
give us a few more.
yeah. Did Kirk have anything on the?
Not
desert
really.
planet? No, I didn't think
I've
so.
never really had many issues with like the
If you
planets.
have to pick one side, is it Tatooine or is it not Tatooine?
It's not Tatooine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm the lone Tatooiner. Me and Shmi just big
Tatooiner.
chillin'.
You're the Tatooiner.
Tatooiner.
Anything else to talk about this episode? Anything big spoiler?
I have a quick point. I'll
yeah.
just drop it. It's my last note. Is we talked a lot about how this kind of reminded us like video game stuff in the first episode. I like that the main thing going on in this is a side quest. It's just a fetch quest, right? Which is just classic video games. In every video game ever, you're
Absolutely
just fetching things for people.
Go get me.
So I like that.
Yeah, there was some really great cinematic shots on just like his armor. It just, I don't know, I just fell in love with it even more this episode. I found than last episode, because I feel like last episode there was more shots of like kind of like darker areas, like when he's at the Mandalorian armor, and this one right at the beginning of the episode as well, like when he's getting ambushed, you can actually see the reflection like in his helmet of two dudes like jumping over top of him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anyone caught that,
No, I
but
didn't have to
it was
look.
just like little details like that, and just like his glimmering shoulder piece with his helmet. I'm like, man, this is so
Yeah.
sick. I was totally loving it. And
Yeah.
then the one like musical part that I kind of like really caught on was when he was battling like that rhino looking thing, and it was a really like unique, I can't even describe it, but it was just like this, it felt like an alarm was going off, and I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
really unique, and it was just awesome.
Yeah,
The
Dylan
music
showed
was
that at
good.
the beginning. The score continues to be phenomenal. That's my favorite. Like, I love lots of stuff in the show, but that's almost my favorite thing. The Jawa fight scene was great, but the score just continues to
Yeah.
deliver, and it's really good.
And then another thing that's continuing to be awesome is just like the ends like credits, just like the little art.
yeah,
Oh,
those
I love it.
Yeah, those are fantastic.
It's so great. And then one last thing, when he's on like the side of like what's it called again? I keep forgetting. Sandcrawler. Thank you. It totally
Movie
reminded me
Fortress.
of the scene in an Indiana Jones Last Crusade when he's like on the side of the tank and he's getting
Yeah.
like crushed in the wall. I'm like,
100%.
this is totally the same scene, but shouts out to Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
I liked when he actually went in the cave looking for the egg. I liked even they gave this like egg the gross sound effect, because like the egg had this hair and he had to like pull, and it was like it was just like
Yeah.
not what you're expecting from this
Like
egg.
Mr.
and
Noodles on
You
it.
thought he was gonna uncover it, but that
Yeah,
was
that
the
was
egg.
exactly.
the egg. Yeah, and I like which is a different shot, because I don't know. Have we ever get a shot from a first perspective in Star Wars before? I think that was a first.
It was very
in the show.
Cloverfield like.
Yeah, I've never seen that in live action Star Wars. So I liked it. I hope we don't see it too much, because I'm not a fan of that in just certain genres, and I think it was fine because he's just using his like little light to
Well,
look around.
I
but-
could, like, could you not count like when he's looking through like the binoculars? That's
I
kind of
no,
wouldn't
first.
I wouldn't
that.
count that. No,
You wouldn't?
No,
No.
I don't know why.
Because they've
You-
done that a few
Okay.
times.
You
like
com-
in a New
Very
Hope.
aggressive.
You're completely right, and you're completely right, and that is first person perspective. But it's something, I guess, because that's just like
It's not my first person.
because I guess it's like it's technically first person, but it's enhanced because you're seeing
Yeah.
so far. But this is like literally with his eyes, so it threw me off. But then I like the one shot when he held up the egg and the camera was facing the almost like from the egg's point of view, looking at him with the camera. And this
Yeah.
was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. He's a great director. He directed Dope. He was supposed to direct Flash. That didn't happen, but very good. No shots of Dave Filoni, but I think this episode was well more better directed than the first one as far as just that sort of. It had a style to
Cinematography,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked that reveal of the cave. Obviously, it was like a very small set, but they made it feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And he just gets thrown out. And I like the fight scene. Also, we talked about that quickly, but I like that. And it, like I said, he was about to die. Like, who knows? He might have got that last blow, but the avocado definitely lent a hand. And he definitely, I forgot to make the point. Now he's just starting to give me vibes when we talked about people don't know how he completes the mission. It reminds me a lot of Jack Sparrow, when Jack Sparrow would do something and he's known as this great pirate, but when you see what's actually happening, it's like he just has a lot
He's
of
kind
luck.
of fumbling his way through. Yeah.
And talking about video games, we're talking about like skill trees or like stats enhance, whatever the luck factor is, like in Fallout. That's what I feel like the Mandalorian has. Like his biggest thing is like smoldering, quippy lines, and then luck. They've enhanced that all the
Yeah.
way. So I kind of like that, and it does give him room to grow and get more armor and be more badass. So I do like that. But that was fun, and I liked the CG. The CG on the rhino-like creature, that wasn't the same one from Attack of the Clones that it's in the
No,
arena.
Attack of
is
the
it?
Clones is a reek. This is
Okay.
different.
It looked
Clearly,
like
Travis,
it. But
come on.
Yeah, I
It's a
know.
fucking reek,
Not
man.
not first point of view, But I liked the effects better on this than I did the things they rode last week. I don't know why. This episode just looked a bit more better all around as far as effects. And I didn't think they were awful last week, but I just thought there were a few times where I caught it where this time
I think I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
I like the first episode. There, like I love the CGI in general, but there were some times where I'm like, okay, it's a little
TV
like,
budget,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like if this was a movie, it probably wouldn't look like that. But in
Yeah.
this one, I feel like I had less of those moments. So
yeah. I don't think I got anything else to add. I'm
No.
trying to
Mus-
think.
musically, one moment I wanted to shout out is when the udon. What's the fuck the creature again?
The Ugnaught.
The Ugnaught.
Ugnaught,
The
yeah.
Ugnaught is like carrying him on his little like wheelbarrow thing, and then it's like some really epic music is playing as they're moving really slowly.
Yeah.
I think it's been done before in movies, but it's a funny. It's. I like when you can make comedy with just a soundtrack
Yeah.
and like a shot. Right.
Mhm.
Simple but effective.
Different way of doing it.
And I really like their send off of like he offered him a job. And he's like,
Yeah.
I've worked my whole life to be free and not doing. I'm gonna enjoy it. And just he's like, I want to pay you. He's like, no, you've already done me. Like I like that
It's a good
character.
moment, yeah.
I think we will. I don't know in this season, but I think we could see him again pop up. Like if Mandalorian needs some place to hide or something like that, he could be a character that comes back. But yeah, I really like that because it to me. I guess I didn't feel I got enough of it, but still shows different shades of the Mandalorian.
Totally.
And it's going to be interesting, and I hope we get it sooner. And like I said, on the finale, when he has to hand over this baby and how he's going to react to you. Because I think we all know he's not going to hand over the kid. It's going to be on the run. But just to see that scene and how it progresses, or maybe that's a twist. Maybe he does and then he regrets it. I don't know. But I'm interested because if he doesn't hand over that kid, then that really goes against that little base camp he was with, right? Because we
Yeah.
talked about the first episode, it seemed like he was willing to give them the armor and like he went everything.
loyal to
Yeah,
it.
all of them went there. But if he doesn't give this kid, that's him making a choice. And I'm interested in that. It's that's a classic movie, TV, anti-hero trope. But if it's done well, it's still entertaining. And I did also think, I'll say this before I forgot, when he got hit by the rhino first time and he was on the ground and the camera just zoomed on him, I thought for sure we were going to get like last week where they showed flashbacks.
I
of his
totally
origin.
was getting those vibes
And I was like,
too.
oh no, not again.
Yeah.
Like anytime he's just like, here's loud noises. So I was like, fine. But I was happy they didn't do that. So
I totally was thinking I'm like here. I was like mentally preparing myself for a terrible flashback.
this
scene.
time though, it's like his family running away from those rhino creatures. Like every time he doesn't actually know what happened to his family. He just projects like something. But
I would say that most scenarios, bounty hunters, they deal with people that are trying to like double down in their payments. Like I'll pay you double whatever the guy is paying you to take me in, and that probably gets very repetitive, and you kind of put up like a shield to that kind of thing as a bounty hunter. But I think that for him and his character, this is probably the first time, especially because he has a soft spot for foundlings and just helping out his guild. And I feel like, this being the first time he's probably had to bring in a baby and he doesn't understand everything. And that's why he's probably got, very sentimental feelings towards it. And it'll change up how he does handle the situation as opposed to just being very cold. I can bring you in warm, bring you in cold scenario. It's, this is a kid and he's taking care of it. And even though he's trying to cut himself off from the baby avocado, like, the fact that the little avocado just walking around and it was fucking adorable.
Very cute, yeah.
So
So adorable.
cute. And like even when he's like patching his arm up and it comes up and he's trying to like touch him and like
Yeah.
he
he's
just
gonna use
puts
the
it away.
force.
Gonna use the force. He
yeah.
puts them away and closes the lid. It's just
Yeah.
adorable. And
They're gonna sell so many
Yeah, Disney
toys.
between
Yeah.
like Baby Groot, Jack,
Yeah,
and
oh,
the
yeah.
avocado, like they know how to make an adorable little kid.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
so
even just the sounds he makes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was very well done. And that's what some of the comedy and non-spoilers I talk about, where that could cringe. You could hate, even I think we talked about Baby Groot, that could go wrong. You could get tired of it. Honestly, this was a very small amount, but Yoda sleeps a lot, so I feel like he's not gonna be, or Avocado sleeps a lot, so I feel like
Mhm.
that's gonna be a general thing. So,
yeah.
but that's why I'm just interested when you talk about it being a child. That is the case, but if he doesn't take that child in, then he goes against his people, right? So that's where I think he's going to be like a dejected Mandalorian. And I bet maybe not this season, but maybe next season you're going to have some of his own people coming after him, and there's going to be some dilemmas going on.
That'd be
so,
pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I also just want to show, that battle between him and that creature. It was super awesome. I loved how it was filmed, and I loved how it goes out of the cave, and you just hear his blaster fires a few times, and he gets launched, and just he gets another hit to his chest, and you can just see his front breastplate.
It's like
just all
sparking,
and damaged, and then he gets another hit where the horn literally comes up and I think whacks like on his helmet, and you can hear the ding. And I remember I gasped when I saw it because I thought, oh, if he didn't have the
He's
helmet,
dead.
like that fucking horn would have gone right through his head. Like, and
Well,
it
you
would've
always
been
wear your helmet.
brutal. Always wear a helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always wear a helmet.
So it was super cool. And I loved how muddy he was getting. I loved him shooting the flamethrower at its head. I loved when he shot his like retractable blade onto it and it was dragging him through the mud. It was just so crunchy. And it's funny too because Kirkland was like, oh, I love his armor. It
Yeah.
looks so good. And then he just got covered in mud.
Yeah, it's like that didn't last long.
Anything else, chaps?
I don't think so. It's a short and sweet episode.
Precisely, yeah.
I'm going to give this a 3.5. Last week I gave it a 4. Like I said, I probably sound negative, but I did love the majority of the action and the stuff. I just had some complaints or some wants and maybe some a bit more progression. But as an episode itself, I did really enjoy it. And yeah, like I said, it is a filler-esque, but at the same time, I still love that Jawa sequence that I loved. And even though we didn't talk about them, just like once they get the egg, what they want it for, they just split it
cut
open,
and start
and they just have a
scooping out.
buffet.
Yeah, Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh style for sure.
So like I did really like this episode, but I had problems with it. But I did. It will be interesting when we talk about the season finale and like when we talk about the whole season in general, because I think I could like this episode more in the long run. But still a good episode. A little bit of a step down for me, but still enjoyable.
Nice. Did I do some sort of ranking?
I don't
No.
I think
A
you gave
thumb
it.
or like
You
a
gave
number?
it
some sort
yeah,
of
there was some
It
sort
was
of
something weird.
yeah,
What
it
the
was
fuck
something
was
like I don't know.
It was so weird that I can't even remember it. And it was
yeah, you can make
4
another
days ago.
weird one.
I am going to give this movie. This is not a movie. I'm going to give this episode 7 Jawas out of 10.
7
I knew you were gonna do
Jawas,
Jawas.
because there's
I could just
10
feel it.
because there's 10 Jawas, but then 3 of them died.
There you
Rest
go.
in peace, those 3
Rest in
Jawas.
peace.
Yeah, they can't even bury them. They're
No.
just they just have their robes.
Disappeared.
Yeah, but
Very
I'll
much
give this
Obi-Wan
episode
style.
a urn full of orange goo.
and you know they're not even gonna bear those robes. They're gonna use them for themselves. No respect,
yeah,
those
easy.
fuckers. Yeah.
They're little rats.
And I
That's
feel
why
like
everyone
their
hates them.
eyes. I feel like their eyes are very valuable.
Oh yeah, they have to be.
Right, like they're
Yeah.
there's some sort of
They
rare
glow.
gem, or they power like a lightsaber. Like who knows?
Yeah, kyber crystals. yeah. We don't know what's under that hood, so
We really don't. I
Yeah.
don't think I want to know either.
Yeah, I'm gonna rate the show when it's done. So no, I'm not gonna do episode by episode.
Smart.
I feel like you didn't do that last
You
week.
definitely didn't do
You
it last
cow,
week.
you
What did I
traitor.
do last
You
week?
you gave a little bit of an overview, I think, or an end thought, but you didn't rate it.
I didn't rate it.
No.
so-
Yeah, why? What do you guys giving him a hard time?
exactly.
for?
I
We
thought
didn't
he
rate
did
it.
rate it.
Dylan's on my
Really?
back.
I can't remember what
I'm
I
gonna
did,
find
so-
Yeah.
Fans, let us know. We have no memory. Taylor, what you doing?
I'm gonna give again, for different reasons. I still
No.
love this episode, but I'm gonna
Do
give
it.
it 5
Oh
Beskar Steel and
my
5 Beskar Steel.
God.
I am. I'm
this
sorry,
guy.
but when he started popping off on the Jawas, it had me. I'm like, this is great. I
It
was
doesn't
not
take. What I've
expecting it.
learned for Star Wars is it takes very, 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 very little for Taylor. All he needs is one good
Jawa, a
fanboy
Jawa.
scene.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, it was great because he's like exploding
That's
Jawas.
fine. I wish
and
I
the,
loved anything that much.
The avocado's just kind of looking at him and just chilling as these Jawas are popping. And then, yeah, when he's speaking Jawa or whatever, or before that scene, when he's just going along and they're like, the Ugnaughts like, oh, you got to relinquish your guns. They don't like you. And he's like, well, I killed a few of them. Guns are my religion. He's
That's
just,
the exact
he's
quote.
so salty too. And
Same
uh,
Sound like
Cadence and all.
sound like Will Ferrell from Old School.
I'll never forget that moment when he's just trying to be diplomatic and
See
he's
the
like,
the
you
moment.
you
yeah.
stole my stuff. You took my things from my ship. your
Oh, quit while you're
Jawanese
ahead.
or whatever it is. Sounds like Wookiee. He just says, "Yeah, how does this sound?" And just blasts him with a flamethrower, and the Jawa screams and ducks it away. That's my kind of
They,
humor.
they sound like the psychos from Borderlands.
Oh, so there's that, and then the action sequences, and it was just so fun. It felt like that side quest that you experience when playing,
a video game.
a video game, and you just get sidetracked.
Any old game.
Any old
Yeah.
game.
Nondescript
But
game.
not Mario
It's
Party.
it's a
Yeah.
well-deserving, 5 out of 5 for different
Wow.
reasons, as opposed to why I gave 5 out of 5
right.
for the first
Of
episode.
course.
I
Yeah.
think every episode of this show is gonna be a 5 out of 5.
Sure?
For him.
It's a bold
Yes.
prediction.
That's a safe prediction.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's
I
bold.
don't think that's bold at
I
all.
should take bets.
A bold would be a fail. You're not getting. I don't think there's anything. I think they're all gonna be 5s. But if I were to guess, still there wouldn't be anything lower than a.
If they
a
killed,
4.89.
Yeah,
if they
4.8.
killed the avocado, I might have failed that episode because that would have really upset me.
That makes
What if it's a good episode? Though?
Yeah. What if there's a good reason for it, and that's like progresses the plot?
What if
that
they
like
kill it and then there's another avocado behind him? or
like
something?
what if he takes in the baby avocado and the Mandalorian's like, yeah, we couldn't have killed this child. Good thing you did that. And then as he walks away, they kill the avocado, and he's just like, you motherfuckers
What if,
lied
what if
to me.
like just
I'd be pretty
a
upset.
stray shot kills the avocado and then it zooms over and it's Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo?
Even though it's Harrison Ford era Han Solo, now they just start. Oh boy.
Anyway,
No, you'd like the avocado dying if it was like Darth Maul coming in and like,
No, I think he would just fucking force hold him like he did the creature.
Think so?
He's too cute. He's been they do those pan shots of him just standing there chilling, and then he's eating the frog thing.
So
and he's just
yeah,
cute.
he
A
one
fa-
bite that frog.
a fail for you is if they kill the avocado.
I think if they kill the
Wow.
avocado, unless
Even
there
if
is
done
a
well.
super badass action
What if the
sequence.
Mandalorian gets a lot of money from killing
That's
that?
how you want the avocado to go out? A super badass
No.
action scene? They can't be
Unless-
emotional.
if
or
the
something.
avocado
Predator
dies,
just flies down from the tree.
if the avocado
Jar
dies
Jar
in the
Binks.
episode, it'll be very sad, and I would fail it probably. But if there was a huge action sequence some point in that episode, and we get a space battle in there too,
Space battle.
I'm a sucker for a space
Yeah,
This
battle.
is
you
why
are.
we're never getting on
And there's
Rotten
pod
Tomatoes.
racing.
We'll never be gonna be on Rotten Tomatoes because of Taylor. Look at the critiques. If he dies, automatic fail probably. Not doesn't even
There's a space battle.
it doesn't even hear out what the story or script could be. Just if this character dies, it's it for me. That's it. Done.
Unless it's like infected with like a disease or
But
something.
very specific. Oh boy, Taylor, where can
Yeah.
they find us for next week and all the other episodes of Mandalorian and our Jedi Fallen review and Rise of Skywalker? All
Holy
Star Wars
Star Wars,
content.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna do a
100%.
Skywalker prediction episode in a few weeks. We got Last Jedi commentary tracks. We got Star Wars coming out the
Yeah.
ear holes.
Haven't we done
That
a
would
Rise
be
of Skywalker prediction, or was that a Cantina?
Cantina.
episode?
We
It was
did
Cantina.
that
Oh,
3
I
years
listened
ago.
to that episode.
Jesus
We did
Christ.
early. We'll revisit though. I'm gonna bring them and say I've already been wrong on some of them. I was like, Rey's gonna have a new lightsaber. It's gonna be yellow. No, fucking blue as always. Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection or your data because we're data worthy. But if you
Data-worthy.
want to save some money, you can check us out in the search bar. Facebook Geek for Space podcast with tons of awesome content.
All the links are down below in the description. If you like what we do, please subscribe, rate, and review us. A written review on iTunes really help us. We're almost at 150. We need 50 more to hit our next milestone, so we appreciate that. If you really like what we do, head over to Patreon. There's early Clone Wars stuff up there. There's After Nines up there. And
Mhm.
2020 is when you want to jump on board because we're going to be dropping lots of fun goodness there. Lots of
Well, you
baby
want to jump in now
avocados.
because then you're
ready.
integrated into the community
Yeah.
before 2020 hits.
You can get the top secret GV feed, and you can get all these episodes with 0 ads, whether they're the Stitcher ads, whether they're the other ads, 0 ads on every
Whether it's
episode.
Taylor peddling his Toshiba, Samsung, Amazon TVs, whatever the fuck those are.
Yeah,
Peddling.
So it's just
Peddling, yeah.
just us on Patreon, and you can get every episode ad free for just $1. So it's a steal of a deal. So
Steal.
thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. It will not be more boring, and may the force be with you.
Always.
Later.
You stole my always. I was gonna say always.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
Travis
he
gave me
knows.
hell last week, so I had to do it.
Hell, yeah, I phoned him like, why? You ruined the
I was gonna
podcast.
say, of course, be with you, but I wasn't sure if that was like solely to your.
No,
your
I just do it with Star Wars all the time.
Okay.